The following video shows my process of creating the first stage of making a number 5 shaker oval box. And I use several resources for this. One is a fine woodworking article by John Wilson in September-October 93. And then the other is Einar Handberg's book on shop drawings for shaker furniture. You can see that I've made a trace over of the finger shapes, and I've used these trace overs then to make the full length bands that are bent around an oval box, or make the oval box. So here are the two, both the box bend and the upper cover band. The next step is to create the actual box bend, and that makes an oval box. This is an ellipse, 6.5 by 9.5. So I'll go to perspective camera and pick the circle tool to start the creation of the ellipse. Notice that I've used sides at 48. The normal is 24. With this kind of a small piece, I think that makes sense. And here I'm making the circle at radius 3.25, so I've got 6.5 at that minor dimension of the final ellipse. We need to change this circle into an ellipse, but first I'm going to show the center of the circle. I'm going to need this as reference later, and actually I'm going to show on the blue axis 2 lines here representing the vertical axis. I'll need those later to fit together the various parts of the oval box. Here is a radial line on the green axis, and I'm showing then the length of the long axis of the ellipse, which is in this case 4.75 radius, making the 9.5. Pick the scale tool, hold down the control key so that I'm working across the center line, and go out to the guideline and click to finish the elliptical shape. Next, I'm creating some guidelines to show where the banding actually overlaps. The overlap is about 5 inches overlap from the beginning to the end, and so I'm showing that overlap area, and I'm picking the tool to make the thickness of the band. Remember, this ellipse shape that I made at first was the inside shape. Now the banding thickness has been added. That's 0.085 inches based on what I've been reading for a number 5 box. And now with the arc tool, I'm showing that complicated overlapped part of the banding from the beginning to the end, with 2 arcs that overlap here. I'm going to close up the end here with the line tool, and I can get rid of that one of those the original arc line here. And now you can see the fading of the end of the banding, and then the thickness at where the finger joint exists. With the push-pull tool, I'll bring that banding up to its height, which is 3 11/16 according to Einar Handberg. And I've got the reversed color, so I'll select and reverse faces. Okay, so I've got square banding that is wrapped around itself and overlapping for about 5 inches, but I need the finger joints. So I'm grabbing a copy of the template. It already has all the location of the copper tacks that are connected together, and I'm just positioning that template exactly to line up with the bended banding. Bring the template up closer on the green axis, and then I can do a push-pull to bring that through the banding. And I need to get ready here for the intersect that will create the finger joints. And I've got a group here that I would like to just change that. I'll change it later. Right now I'm going to select it all, and for safety's sake scale it up by a factor of 10, hoping that will eliminate any small facet issues that might occur. Get rid of the scale tool and explode the group, and then select all and right click intersect with the intersect all of this here, and now we've got a situation of cleanup. The best way I found to clean up is to look at this from the top view and then turn on parallel projection, and then do I want to do a right to left select. I don't want that to delete that bottom, and I don't want to delete that line that I made, that radial line. So I'm holding the shift key to knock those out, and then the delete key erases all that part of the waste, and then delete out front here to clean up that part. Still more cleanup to do. I'm going to use the eraser tool, and this may take a while to get rid of the waste between these finger joints, and I can use the control key with the eraser to drop these lines, smooth out these edges that shouldn't show up, and just delete this waste out in the middle of the finger joints, reverse faces, and smooth out the edges. Got a couple more places to clear out. Same procedure. Delete the waste. Reverse faces. And smooth out. So this is the first stage. I want to go through the rest of the stages in making this number 5 box. So next time I'll get into making the cover. Smooth out some more lines on the outside face. And I can delete that line up there, that edge, and I can delete a tiny edge right in that overlapped area. And we can now reduce this by 0.1 with a scale tool, 0.1, and I'm back down to full size. So that's the first step of getting the box bend. Next time I want to do the lid bend of the banding.